If you subscribe to my blogs, you will be able to learn how to change your life to allow always be healthy and happy, how abundance, fight evil, how reliable protection, learn the true laws of love, live without deception, prolong life as much as possible. Prison must be abolished. Greetings to the listener of my blog. These blogs will proclaim a new system of 7 sentences. It places alongside with this system a grandiose right that has not yet been included in any declaration of human rights. This is the right to a free plot of land for every person from birth. All people have the right not only to life, freedom, but also to free plot of land. Not only life, housing and property should be inviolable, but also one's own plot of land. How then to carry out a just punishment in such a way as to restore justice and not humiliate human dignity? After all, if we don't take a person's life, then we must give him the opportunity to return to society for a normal life. All people have the right not only to life, but also to freedom, which cannot be taken away from anyone. That is, each criminal must be left a certain territory in which he must enjoy complete freedom. The right to the sun, a piece of land, the right to engage in any type of activity on this territory, the right to lawful communication with other citizens. Restriction on freedom should be replaced by restriction on the territory and its quality, namely taking into account the remoteness of the territory, climatic, soil, and other conditions. To achieve all this, it will be enough to limit the criminal's living space for the duration of the restriction of freedom. That is, the restrictions should only concern the territory and natural conditions, and all other restrictions and abuse on a person, material and everyday comforts should not be limited if they are provided at one's own expense. Depending on the punishment, criminals should be resettled in the West on own-term areas, with the provision of them greatest possible freedom, so that they can provide themselves with the means of subsistence as much as possible, and also be able to recoup the damages they have suffered. They should be provided with a minimum of resources that they cannot produce or by themselves. Every person, including a penal settler, has the right to material well-being at his own expense if he has paid for the damages he has caused, to complete freedom within a limited space, and to love. No one can deprive a person of what the law does not take away. If someone wants to share the fate of the punishment, the land plot should be doubled. Let them live at their own expense and share. By mutual consent, criminals will have the right to combine their plots. This system will all allow the convict to isolate himself from the criminal collective, which has a harmful effect on the upbringing of each other. Restriction food, lawful communication, access to wildlife, and is an abuse of a person and cannot lead to correction. Prison, just like buildings, should be eliminated in the sense that the state should not spend money on their creation. The implementation of this proposal will free up huge funds for the maintenance of convicts. Any criminal who has served his sentence should be left with certain freedom and hope for a happy life. A person, including a criminal, deprived of this hope is like a predatory beast driven into a corner. I think they can have hope for happiness only if they are left with a right to escape, if it is not connected with new crimes. A detained fugitive should not be additionally punished by adding time to his prison sentence if he has repaid the actual material damages associated with the escape. The only things that can be done is reduce the area of the sentence and its regime in order to prevent frequent escapes. Please don't forget to subscribe or give me an approval. Then my information will reach you better. Thank you. Life in imprisonment takes away all hope. It is better to replace it with a very long term of punishment. There is no loss, but hope will remain. If a person shows extraordinary abilities, or he outsmarts society, escapes, and is not found during the time of restriction of freedom, then let him return to a happy life. Have you seen at least one country in the free world without prisons? We all live in different conditions, but it never occurs to anyone to be offended by those who live in a better natural environment, in already better equipped places. There are many examples in history when criminals sent to serve their sentences on remote island and less habitable territories becomes pioneers of developed regions. The world is in the process of eliminating the death penalty as a punishment for serious crimes. Humanity is gradually coming to the realization that such a punishment as the death penalty is ineffective. After all, the legal institution cannot take away the right to life from anyone, because then it itself can gradually slide into crime. Taking into account judicial errors, the frequent lack of awareness of their guilt by criminals, and the absence of spiritual suffering. there are punishments more terrible than the death penalty. Why sentence to death? If a beast in human form has no conscience and he has committed many deaths, it is necessary to make a small fence for him according to the court's decision, and on top of it there is a grate, a ladder or a path that approaches the fence, so that the victim or their relatives can walk and look. The victims should have the right to personally check the location of the criminal. It is also necessary to allow relatives or friends of the convicted person to have the right to cover the criminal's debts. After that, they can improve his living conditions. If there is no one to help, he must do it himself. I read that indigenous inhabitants of the Arctic Ocean coast built themselves small dwellings that were not heated, even in the condition of the far north, and were able to live there. Why not borrow this experience? This dwelling, I think, is not expensive, and anyone who is unable to afford better housing can build it. But it is necessary to give every criminal a piece of land, access to the sky and atmospheric air. Let him enjoy complete freedom there and do whatever he pleases. All people have the right to organize their work within their territory and earn a certain income. It would be reasonable to have access to market relation for everyone. Only under such condition man can remain fit for a full life in society after serving his sentence. He will not have the evil that leads to relapse. Instead of prisons, settler zones will appear. Some of them will be able to remain without security. Many people serving sentences and conscientiously following the prescribed rules of residence may have unfenced territories. Persons who committed a crime not prudently or because of economy in means of protection, why isolate them from society, keep them in camps, spend money on their maintenance? It is possible to limit their places of residence only to the territory of their residence and work, so that these persons not only support themselves but also pay for the damages caused. Probably the term of restriction of liberty in such a case should be extended until the guilty person fully pays for the damages caused. At the same time as the sentence is served and debt repayment, their territorial and professional restriction can be expanded, and in case of violation of the regime, on the contrary, limit the territory of use and tighten the regime. All this will not only save huge amounts of money, create more suitable conditions for the correction of criminals, but will also protect them from further criminal damage and will contribute to their adaptation to full life in society after serving their sentence. If you want to receive new information in each block that cannot be found in other sources, I ask you to subscribe. That is, click the circle under the picture or give approval. Thank you. Now let's return to the conclusion that emerge from the topic of this block, providing everyone with a piece of territory. Not only criminals, but also all citizens in the state have the right to have a certain separate minimum land plot in private, if they do not use similar plots that are in their common private use. If they do not have it, the state must provide everyone with such a plot free of charge. If a citizen has acquired the ability and doubled his land ownership, he must return to the state the market value of the land or the land itself provided to him free of charge. If the population increases, the minimum standards should be revised. Additional land for this purpose can be purchased by the state and given to each citizen. All the people of the earth or the state will find themselves in the same conditions, only some have more land, others less. But the conditions for everyone were initially the same, the laws are the same. Whatever wants to have more must work harder. It is necessary to ensure that every person who enters life should have the same starting condition for their development. The same starting condition will concern not only land, but also material conditions were announced in the block Good Will Come, which will not allow the excessive enrichment of millionaires. In the society of modern people, social, family problems, issues of security, freedom and happiness will be solved, which cannot be completely solved in the so-called free society. Let's see a country in which there will be no prisons. Then everyone will enjoy the same rights. Maybe in time they will forget about crime, just as they will forget about prisons, which for now still pollute our land. If you had something new in this blog, please like it or share it. Thank you for your attention.